Hey, welcome to the podcast. This is the Surge Effect, and this podcast, well, it'll probably have an effect on you. Well, hello, and this is the Surge Effect podcast. And today's podcast, we are going to be talking about liberal spending in this country of ours, the Arrive Scam app, incompetent MPs in our House, Liberals selling out Canada to the United States, Canadian electric vehicle mandates by 2035, Alberta, of course, wanting to separate, and then at the very end, a little small clip from one of the sheriffs down in Florida. All right, so let's get right at it, everyone. Today's first video is going to be of Andrew Scheer. Andrew Scheer is talking about Liberals, of course, wanting to add another $500 billion, that's trillion dollars, to our debt in Canada. Listen to this.
So the Liberals are going to be asking Parliament to approve $500 billion in inflationary spending, and Conservatives just can't support that. This is coming from a government that promised in its throne speech to cap spending growth by 2%. Mark Carney then established a new world record for breaking promises. Just a few minutes later in the House of Commons, he tabled the main estimates, the outlines of the government spending program, which blew past that 2% cap and is reaching an incredible 8%. Mark Carney is actually going to borrow and spend more money than Justin Trudeau. In addition to breaking through that 2% spending cap promise, he's also increasing the amount of money that taxpayers have to spend on hiring consultants for government departments. He's increasing the budget for outsized, high-priced consultants by 36%, or $7 billion. That works out to about $1,400 per Canadian family will go from hardworking Canadians right to the pockets of high-priced consultants. We just simply cannot support this level of irresponsible spending. This is coming at a time when there are all kinds of troubling economic news, when more and more Canadian families are falling deeper into debt. Food bank usage continues to rise. Many workers are worried about their jobs, and the government can't even explain the rationale for all this spending because they refuse to table a budget. So Conservatives will be voting against the government's main estimates next week because we just simply cannot endorse such an irresponsible spending plan that makes Justin Trudeau look like a sound financial manager. That's what Mark Carney has done to the Liberal Party.
That's what Mark Carney's done to the old Liberal Party here in Canada and our country. And he's only been in a Prime Minister position just for a very short time. Just imagine the damage that can be done in a longer period of time. Of course, this was in the paper as well, talking about a $1 billion scandal, another Liberal scandal. They audited $187 billion worth of Liberal infrastructure spending, finds 20,000 missing projects. If you look at the bottom, it says in January, the Conservatives won the fight to audit the Liberals' $187 billion infrastructure plan. More money gone to waste. Every one of these are our tax dollars. Stephen Gabol, the old climate czar before, now he's in charge of our internet. Supposedly this is what's transpired here in the news. This was dropped back in November of 2024. Gabol accused of siphoning $254 million to his own company. That was at the end of last year. More Liberal scandals. But people voted for this. They voted to have this. And after 10 years of the government doing what they've done to us, this is what they voted for. So more of the same. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, this here is about the Arrive Scam app. Cost $64 million of our hard-earned tax dollars. And this is what they have to say in the House.
Auditor General released a scathing audit this week on the top Arrive Scam contractor, GC Strategies. This two-person company under RCMP investigation received a jaw-dropping $64 million from these Liberals. And the old ministers responsible for this all got promoted by this Prime Minister and are sitting as ministers right there, right now. Wow. Canadians are incensed by these same old Liberal ministers continuing in their corrupt ways. A simple question for their Prime Minister. When are Canadians going to get their money back?
Hear, hear.
For government transformation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We will always protect the integrity of our procurement process, which is why we've implemented recommendations from the Auditor General, from past reports, such as increased transparency, strengthening oversight, clarifying the roles, the responsibilities across departments. We will always hold bad actors to account, which is why, Mr. Speaker, we've taken legal actions against GC strategies. We've referred cases to the RCMP. We will always protect the integrity of our procurement process.
The honourable member for Prince George, Peace River, Northern Rockies.
That answer doesn't cut it for Canadians struggling to pay their bills in record numbers.
That's right.
These old Liberals have turned a ride scam into a masterclass in rewarding failure and corruption. The old ministers responsible for this scam are the same old ministers sitting over there as cabinet ministers right now. These same old ministers are ignoring the rules, allowing their insiders to get rich with taxpayers' hard-earned money. Why do corrupt Liberal ministers keep getting promoted and Canadians keep getting the bill?
That's a good question. The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me be absolutely clear. We will never tolerate misconduct from our suppliers or their subcontractors, which is why we've taken legal action against GC Strategies. We've referred cases.
He just says the same thing over and over again. This is Joel Lightbound. He is a friend, of course, of Mark Carney from, you guessed it, Brookfield, which is Mark Carney's business. So here's another video in regards to the Arrive Scam app. This is from this is about Christian Firth.
Christian Firth, if you're listening right now, you did something wrong. You stole from the Canadian people. You should never be allowed to have another contract again, and you should return the money to the people of Canada. But this Liberal government let you do it because they don't see your money, the Canadian people's money, like their money. Canadians put their trust in this government and they betrayed this trust. But here is an opportunity for the Liberals and the government to rebuild that trust through you, Mr. Speaker. You have to get our money back. You have to make right for the hard-working people who send their taxes to Ottawa. The bad thing has happened. You let that bad thing happen, but this is your chance to make it right. Do the right thing. Support this motion. Never let GC Strategies have another contract or their affiliates, and get Canadians' money back. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Get Canadians' money back. That's about $64 million. Be nice if they could do that. Here's another video in regards to, you guessed it, GC Strategies and our $64 million app during COVID.
Principal partners, Firth and Anthony, not disqualified for life.
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Chair, thank you. We are here to discuss main estimates, and let's talk about what includes in main estimates. It is
the Honourable Member.
How many ministers and parliamentary secretaries who had their hands all over this file have apologized to the House and Canadians for not exercising ministerial responsibility?
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Chair, I would talk about main estimates 2025-2026. Let's talk.
Member.
The answer is 0, Minister. How many ministers have resigned?
Honourable Minister.
Let's talk about a main estimate 2025-2026.
The answer is 0, Minister. Minister, as the new president of the Treasury Board of this so-called new government, will you do the honourable thing and apologize to Canadians for not exercising prudent care over their tax dollars?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Chair, thank you for the question. I understand my colleague wants to have a clip. But here, we're here to talk about main estimates, 2025-2026. Let's talk about the investment we are.
These ministers that Carney has chosen, in my opinion, let me know what you think in the comments, but they're incompetent. And I'm going to show you some videos here of how incompetent some of these ministers are. Listen up to this.
A lot to unpack here. There are 500,000 people as of December that should have been removed from Canada. How many were removed?
The Honourable Minister.
So,
Keep in mind, she just asked her about 500,000 immigrants that are in Canada right now that should have been removed. That's the question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. You need to contextualize the numbers when we present them in this House. There's facts.
You still have time, Minister. You have a few seconds.
But it's not your time.
You wanted to finish?
Mr. Chair, appreciate that. CBSA and Public Safety Minister, he was here, I believe, Thursday, and he's in charge answering those questions.
How many of the 500,000 people that are not supposed to be in Canada have been removed? Just the number.
Minister.
So thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Again, people whose visas expires or who are here that should not be here need to leave. If they do not, that is a CBSA.
Remember.
But here's the thing. The minister cannot set levels if she doesn't know how many people have left. So it is her job. So I need to know how many people of that 500,000 has left. How about this? Does she even know? Does she have any clue?
Minister.
So, again, Mr. Chair, my role here tonight is not to talk about people leaving and people that are here that have visas expired and so on in terms of how many have left. That is completely a CBSA function, and the public safety takes care of it.
The Honourable Member.
Canadians literally pay her $100,000 top-up and give her a car to know these numbers. How many of the 500,000 people that were supposed to leave in December actually left? This is pretty simple. Like, how many? Does she know?
I'm a minister.
This is about 4 times now, 5 times she's asked the exact same question and has gotten 0 answers for. Remember, this lady, she's making like $250,000 a year in a salary that we pay her. The lady that's trying to answer these questions is Lena Lutledge, DIB.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And again, I've answered that question a number of times. I will try one more time.
She has not answered it once. All right, I'm going to go to the next video. You can go and find this video online and watch it for yourself. There's a lot more to it than that, but she just doesn't answer the question at all. So here's another minister being asked a question.
How many investment properties does the minister own?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Investment is secondary to people living in homes. We need to build homes that people live in, not invest in.
The Honourable Member.
For you, Mr. Chair, he's looking for the number. How many investment properties does this Minister of Housing own?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Chair, I think the focus here needs to be on building homes for people to live in, not building homes for investors to own.
Honourable Member.
How many rental units does this Minister of Housing own?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm here to answer questions on behalf of my department for the investment in affordable housing across Canada and infrastructure and housing.
This guy is another new member appointed by Mark Carney. Once again, you can see that he never answered any of those questions because he doesn't want to. Not that he's unable to. He just doesn't want to. And once again, you're paying him a lot of money. So here is another minister being asked questions.
Ask the minister a number of questions across all the sectors in natural resources, so he doesn't need to patronize me. Does he know which sectors lost the most jobs since May?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I think that's a question for the Minister of Employment.
The Honourable Member.
I'll give him one more chance. Does he know which sectors lost the most jobs since May?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure how that's relevant to the main estimates here.
The honourable member.
Well, it's relevant because it was forestry, fishing, mining, quarrying, and oil and gas workers in Canada who lost the most jobs of any sectors in the entire Canadian economy since May last year and over the past lost anti-development Liberal decade.
That's right. Over the lost Liberal decade. It's crazy. So here I'm showing you, the $500 billion money push for Carney, wanting to put all this debt onto Canadians again. Got to keep in mind, we're like a $1.5 trillion in debt, and he's going to put another $500 billion, which is a $500 billion. That's a third of our debt. He's going to add that onto it again. And then, of course, I'm showing you all these different ministers, the money that they've spent for the Arrive scam app, and now these incompetent ministers can't answer a question. So now I'm going to be showing you how these Liberals are going to be selling out Canadians. This is how they're going to sell us out.
Diversifying your trade has been the goal of this Liberal government, but an article posted last night by The Economist states that the United States will be granted first rights of refusal on Canadian minerals.
Didn't know that, probably, huh?
Before going to Washington, Mr. Carney asked officials to list the Canadian products that Mr. Trump needs the most. Rare earth elements and critical minerals top that list. It looks like the Liberals want to give first rights of refusal to our critical minerals, limiting our ability to sell to the world and diversify our economy. Is the Prime Minister negotiating guaranteed access to Canada's minerals to the United States?
Order. Order. Just a reminder not to use members' proper names. The Honourable Minister of Energy.
Elbows up.
Mr. Speaker, mining is crucial to our economy, and with Canada facing American tariffs, we must support mining workers. That's why we will speed up permitting of new mines by cutting red tape and approving projects within 2 years. This will be in Canada's national interest. This will make Canada stronger. This will make us more sovereign.
He literally read verbatim, word for word, off of that piece of paper that somebody would have handed that to him. And that he said, if you ever get asked this question, read that. This guy here, of course, is another friend of Mark Carney's and a bigwig in Brookfield. You starting to get the idea here, everyone? You starting to get the idea how this is working in the cabinet of Mr. Carney and the Liberals, and elbows up. You understand? Here we go. Here's another one here. This is from Mario. I love this guy. He's awesome. He just dropped this the other day, and it's about our resources here in Canada. You just heard about it in our house. Let's hear about it, what Mario has to say, because he does a lot of research.
I'm going to blow your mind. The Economist published this article called Carney's Colossal Canada-US Pact. Here's what happens when you click on it. It's no longer there. But guess who found it? No, baby, it's archived on the internet. And I'm starting to think this might be the reason why they took it down. People briefed on the negotiations say that United States would be guaranteed first right of refusal on Canadian resources. Let me put it to you this way. Mark Carney and his whole elbows up is doing the complete opposite of that. He's handing Donald Trump the right of first refusal on our Canadian resources. This is despite Mark Carney vowing to diversify Canada's trading options so it's never again so dependent on a single trading partner. But the reality is it's going to be years before Canada can escape the gravity of the world's largest consumer market that's so easily accessible by rail or lorry, if ever it can. The deteriorating Canadian economy compels Mark Carney to act now to maintain access to the market that has been responsible for Canada's prosperity for close to a century. My friends, Donald Trump just negotiated the right of first refusal to all of our resources. Sounds like he's going to...
So there you go, right? These are things that the mainstream media, they won't tell you. And you will have no idea what is going on because you've just probably never seen it. So hopefully this is bringing, shedding a little bit of light on what's going on for you. Here's a little video clip of Pierre Poilievre and what he thinks about a lot of this stuff going on about the Arrive scam app, of course, and a little bit about our border.
She's absolutely right. We need to get the money back for taxpayers.
What do you make of the border security bill that was tabled last week, Bill C2? You haven't offered your views on it. Can you give us...
Well, we support a stronger border. We want severe limits on population growth to reverse the damage the Liberals did to our system. The population has been growing out of control. Our borders have been left wide open. This has caused the free flow of drugs, human trafficking, illegal migration, and much worse. And that is why we want a stronger border. We want to crack down on abuses in the immigration system, and we want to ensure that that any frauds in the refugee system are reversed. Those are the things we're looking at. But we're also going to study the bill carefully to make sure, long-standing Canadians who are following the law are not having their rights and freedoms violated. Thank you.
All right, so let's move on now to the electric vehicles, or EVs. Now, a lot of people might go, well, this is not going to happen for a long time. I mean, what are they talking about? Well, here it is in the paper just the other day. Right there. Liberals press ahead with 2035 gas vehicle ban. The Liberal government is forging ahead with its plan to ban the sale of new gas-powered vehicles in the next decade, despite warnings from the auto industry, leaders, and public opposition. See? Meanwhile, Trump down in the States, they just passed a bill, just wrote a bill, actually it was passed in Congress. California, they had a electric vehicle bill, and he just quashed it because it was ridiculous, right? You have to be able to sell both gas and electric. You got to give people a choice, right? Give people a choice. Imagine that. Anyway, listen to this video here about EVs.
Canada, do politicians cry about Trump's tariffs hurting our auto manufacturing industry while reaffirming their own plan to decimate the industry by banning the sale of gas-powered cars by 2035? That's not environmental policy, it's ideological self-destruction. Even though EV interest is plummeting, charging infrastructure is decades behind, and working-class Canadians can't afford to switch their vehicles, Environment Minister Julie DeBrusen confirmed this week the ban is still full steam ahead. The hypocrisy is stunning, complaining about U.S. policies hurting car manufacturers while enforcing domestic policies that do the same thing, but way worse. Although this goes far beyond vehicles, Edmonton, Montreal, and Toronto are already signed on to the C40 Cities Initiative, a global 15-minute city program whose goals include zero private car ownership, zero meat and dairy consumption, and limiting citizens to just 3 new clothing items per year. This isn't about saving the planet, it's about consolidating control over what you drive, eat, wear, and where you're allowed to go. There is no line these people won't cross so long as they claim they're saving the earth while doing it.
Starting to get the bigger picture of what's happening now. What they're trying to control, everything you say, do, hear, wear, drive. Here's another clip about the EV mandate.
Canadians know there's an electric vehicle mandate in place right now. It was without a debate in Parliament that says by 2035 you can no longer buy in Canada a hybrid or gas car. You have to buy an electric automobile. It was quietly put in place by the Environmental Minister Guilbeault in the last Parliament, and he just changed SEPA, the Environmental Protection Act. And all they did was said that all vehicles made in Canada have to have zero emissions. It's an example where government thinks they know best. And, the examples we give of why this doesn't work, not only with the cold climate we have here and rural Canadians who, need their vehicles, but Peterborough just had a powder outage 3 weeks ago. It was one of the only Sundays we didn't door knock, and power was out for 5 days. At that point, you don't have a car.
Exactly. The cold, power outages, all that crazy stuff. But government doesn't think about that for regular Joes like me and you, Joes and Janes, because they just don't. They just don't care. Anyway, here's another one from Mario about the EV mandates.
Pretty crazy. This is the office of the Parliamentary Budget Officer. And they put out a report. They said the electric availability, the whole goals that the Liberal parties have for Canadians, where we can only buy EVs by 2035, they're saying that Canadians can't afford that mandate. They literally said with the removal of the fuel charges and assuming the incentives for a zero-emission vehicle program expires after 2025, we estimate that the relative ownership cost of EVs would need to decrease by 33% to meet the ZEV sales target of 60%. in 2030 under the EV availability standard. How are hardworking families supposed to afford electric vehicles that have a significant premium over gas-powered vehicles when the government is forcing this on us? And not only that, the cheaper electric vehicle alternatives that come from China, which are also some of the top-selling EVs in the UK, Canada just made them twice as expensive. They imposed 100% tariff on them. So even though you can get an EV in China for under $10,000, you'll never be able to get that in Canada. At minimum, it'll cost you $20,000. And that doesn't include the destinations, the duties, the import costs. You're looking now at $25,000 to $30,000 for a car that you can get in China for under 10 grand. How does the Liberal Party...
Exactly, just because of the money, the tariffs that the Liberal Party has imposed on China. Understand?
This is breaking news. A Vaughan homeowner is fired.
Another little clip here. Getting off the EV mandates now. This is what just happened in Canada just the other day. 4 people raided into a guy's house in Vaughan. Homeowner fires guns to thwart off the auto theft. And 4 people that broke into his house. This is what transpired.
News. A Vaughan homeowner has fired his gun to thwart an auto theft at his home at 4 a.m. The police have charged him along with 4 suspects. These men broke into his home at 4 a.m. before they were interrupted by the homeowner. In an update, police said the homeowner discharged a firearm in the course of an attempted vehicle theft. He has been charged, as well as the 4 suspects we arrested, 3 adults and 1 youth. This is now what is happening in Canada. Imagine 4 or 5 people break into your home at 4 a.m. and the homeowner in this case, probably in complete delirious state, had to go ahead and take options to protect him and his family. And now he is charged by the police. This is absolutely insane. The government will continue to allow and prioritize these criminals over law-abiding Canadian citizens and families. And now this homeowner is charged by the police. We need to make sure that we all stand up for this homeowner.
That's amazing, isn't it? Right? If you didn't see it or hear about it on the news or read about it in that paper or listen to this fellow here just talk, you'd never even know what was going on, right? So here's a lawyer.
You have a right
describing what transpires here in Canada. Here we go.
to defend yourself and your family and your home. The amount of force you use has to be proportional. There are some people who ridiculously think that you have to use the same force as the person who's attacking you. That's absolutely not true. If somebody comes at me with a baseball bat and I have a firearm, I don't have to go get a baseball bat and then get into a baseball bat fight with somebody who, if they hit me in the head, will kill me. If you come into my house with a baseball bat, you're going to get shot if I have a legal gun, and you shouldn't be charged. The fact that they're charging a homeowner who had a legal firearm, who defended his household from an intruder who came in with a weapon, I think that's irresponsible on the police's part. It seems like they feel obligated to lay the charge and then have the Crown attorneys decide if it's warranted or not. And that's not how it works in any other crime. Police do an investigation, they decide if there's a crime that's been committed, and they lay a charge. That comes with the responsibility of being a police officer, and they shouldn't be making decisions on charging law-abiding citizens because they might feel pressure from special interest groups who don't like.
See? That's how it should work, right? And that's a lawyer here from Canada describing that's how it should work. You know what I find amazing, I always have found amazing, is that, politicians who cry that, citizens can't have guns. They want to take away guns. They want to take away pistols. But yet, here they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. Look at this. See this right here? That there is a pistol. That there's a gun right there. G-U-N. Bang, bang. This guy will have one. He'll have one. He'll have one to protect this guy. Right? So that's okay. All these people can have them. But regular, average, everyday Canadians, they want to take them away. Amazing. Makes one go, seems kind of strange. So then to top it all off, after the whole Liberal thing, I just wanted to show this again. This is the GDP, real GDP per capita growth. This is from 2015 to 2024, Q3, almost the end of 2024 last year, 6 months ago. There's Canada right at the very bottom, 0.14. Yeah. So whenever you hear the people talking in the House about we're having the best growth in the G7, all that stuff, yeah. Well, there's the facts, there's the figures. You can get it right there. It's sourced out at OECD Data Explorer right there. You can check it out yourself. So when everyone says that, Canada's doing great, blah, 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 we are not doing great. It's just not happening. So you wonder why Alberta wants to separate. Well, here's a couple things that a couple lawyers have to say. Check this out. Listen to Keith Wilson.
Many people, it seems, in central and eastern Canada have no idea that Alberta owns just about the entirety of the land base of the province. They don't know that, Alberta owns the oil and gas. They actually think it's the federal government. They think crown land means federal crown. I'm just astounded at the lack of basic civics understanding that I'm hearing from people. And they don't realize that Albertans, we net pay at, on average, $30 billion more to Ottawa than we get back. So some people say, well, good luck paying for your health care because they think Ottawa pays for it. Well, Ottawa might pay for it in other provinces, but they don't pay for it here. So of all the money we send to Ottawa each year, we don't get 30 billion of it back. So instantly out of the gate, Alberta will have $30 billion more, but we're going to have billions of dollars laying around in our pocket to pay for the things that traditionally have been paid for by the federal government, one of which is running passport offices. Now, I don't know if we're going to be able to replicate that 5-star concierge service, that you get at a passport office. No.
Yeah, so there's a couple lawyers talking about that. So here was a commercial that was popped up the other day about Alberta, what the Albertans think about certain things. It's quite interesting. Have a listen.
Ottawa? They don't listen. Never have.
$600 in carbon taxes just to run my tractor this week. That's not sustainable.
These prices are insane. And then they tax us again for fuel to stock the shelves?
We're the only place in the world with this much wealth that needs permission to use it.
We drill the ground, they drain our pockets. Not anymore.
They talk reconciliation, then block Indigenous resource projects. That's not justice. That's control.
Time to lead.
Alberta first. I support Alberta independence.
I support Alberta independence.
I support Alberta independence.
That's why they want to leave Alberta, right? So everyone's like, oh, solidarity, Canada, don't leave Canada. Well, if you get the bigger picture, you understand why they keep dumping all this money from Alberta to the rest of the country. I've said in previous podcasts, right? It's pretty tough after a while. They get tired of paying the bills for everyone else, right? A lot of the money that Alberta gives to federal government, it goes to out east and it goes to Quebec. It's almost like a socialist type of an effect, right? Stealing from the rich to give to the poor, right? All right, to close off today's podcast, I'm just going to play a little video here of this sheriff from Florida. With all the riots going on in L.A. and everything else, this is what he had to say about Florida. And if people wanted to riot in Florida, this is what would happen. So this is quite eye-opening. So this is how we'll close off the podcast today. Listen to this last video.
If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead. We're not going to play. This has got to stop.
Just like that. Got to stop. All right, so that's it for today's podcast, everyone. Thank you very much for subscribing, liking, sharing. Hope you've learned a little something. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think, what this Liberal government's doing to Canada so far. I kind of look at it like a game. If everyone wants to look at it like everyone's into hockey and baseball and basketball and all that other stuff, right? Look at politics. Look at your country like that. Do you want your country to win? or do you want it to lose? Right now, we're losing. How are we going to win? We have to get the right team in place. We have to make the right plays. We have to make our team better than the other teams, which are the other countries. So you got to make Canada better. And how do we do that? We do it with our resources, oil, gas, right? There's two biggies right there. And of course, our energy. We can always have another nuclear plant and sell clean energy, but it takes time. So anyway, that's the way I kind of look at things. Let me know how you look at things. And until next time, everybody, always remember, keep moving forward, because life is tough, but you got to keep moving forward. All right. Until next podcast. Cheers, everyone.